What do Sinn Féin, IRA, royalty, and the Illuminati, or the elite, their bottom feeders really, all have in common? They're all terrible students. They never really went to school. They're all very proud and lack the required humility for sufficient gracious education. I learned this in school. It's one of the things I actually learned, by myself in school. To sit down, shut up, make use of the time while you're there. Lots of other people will try to dissuade the teacher, prolong the class, jokes and farts down the back, ruin it for everybody else, really. And this is what I have to put up with. Basically, a lot of childish world leaders and grubby little urchins from Wexford who don't learn. Like, I've 8 or 9 years now, I've given them a world class education in metaphysics, and they still. So, anyway, you won't listen to me, but anyway, okay, I'm going to make a reference to you people. I want you to ask pre war Poland what they were doing in the 14 years that led up to the war, the World War. Ask them, because you're doing it in Ireland at the moment, exactly what. And it probably you can ask Bulgaria, you can ask Romania. We saw that in Chitty Bang Bang, that it was something to do with a horrible Bulgarian duke or king that was buggering and torturing loads of children. And his wife appeared to be immortal, and he kept killing her. And lots of gypsy stuff, basically. Um, you ask them, and also while we're on that, the 14 years that led up to the war, um, America turned infertile, sterile, and they blamed their government on sterilizing the American populace. They didn't sterilize you with chemicals or anything like that. That was the death horse. After 14 years, as I said, you're in year 8 or 9. You're in year 9 now. So in the next 4 or 5 years, you're going to have the death horse. You'll be surrounded by famine. You're calling it the cost of living crisis at the moment. You'll be surrounded by famine, war, infertility, death. Basically, there'll be no life. You will not be birthing children. The people alive will be harvesting the children desperately, which they are at the moment, desperately harvesting children, which is like fucking for virginity. Like, you know what I mean? Harvesting children for innocence. Like, do you not think there's an inherent contradiction there of harvesting innocence? Anyway, again, like the Bulgarian king was harvesting lots of kids and keeping them in the dungeon. So yes, that's for Higgins and the IRA and Sinn Féin, because they're all balls deep in holy motherfuckery, scarletry, and they're all addicted to fornicating with the delicacies of my unlawful wedded wife. Um, See, I'm a heater bee. I'm solar connected. I'm connected to heaven, and in good time. I think I was about 26 years old. Had a wonderful life, but they figured this out anyway, that I'm connected to heaven, and then through me they can abuse heaven, and they can gate crash heaven, and they're gate crashing, and they're bringing all horrible, horrible, humane things into heaven, like prostitution, brothels, competition, lots of horrible human things. And again, these are the worst people you can possibly imagine. They're very competitive. They're very greedy. They're very, uneducated. They're really childish and bratty. They're insolent, um, as in the insult. Insult, yeah, I was going to mix it with insulate, insult, insolent. Um, so yes, you need to ask Romania, Bulgaria, or particularly Poland. Particularly ask Poland what they were doing in the 14 years that led up to the war, because you've got war all over the world at the moment, and it will become a global affair, and it will be determined and rooted back to Ireland. I really don't know why Germany got held responsible for the war, or the Holy Roman Empire, when they were the ones that were trying to put a stop to all the holy motherfuckery. Because they wouldn't stop once you know about it. Once they know about it, they don't stop. They're too stupid to forget and go back to their lives. They think it's a wonderful thing. They're finally involved in something. They think it's religious. They think they're prophets. They think, they can see things they're not supposed to see, and they're learning things they're not supposed to know. In Book of Enoch. And they're watchers. They're the traitors of the orrery that they're abusing, because they overthrew and mutinied to the lord of that orrery, myself. And lots of women and prostitutes and lots of cowards, and they all have all their teams and their cabals, and they're all very well self-established over these 8 or 9 years, just like the people in Poland probably, and all the government officials and all the police in Poland, and everybody was involved in this in Poland that led up to the war, until the Holy Roman Empire had their little Inquisition. So yeah, use what to know what you are doing, and what is going to lead to barren, death, infertility, war, famine, and plague. And again, they won't stop. They're addicted to it. They love it. They sit around all day just wanking, Police, my country, just sitting around on the taxpayers' money, sitting around all day wanking, chanting my name backwards, and do whatever gypsy stuff they've been told to do. They're basically tested. It's satanic testing. I was told and offered to do all these things, and I was like, no, that's a holy commandment. You're not supposed to do that. And I knew, like, my holy commandments and everything. I was like, you're just testing. Every single thing that you test is a commandment that you're not supposed to do. Coveting my unlawful wed wives, abusing my name in vain, because there's a lot of potential in abusing my name, and they all know my name. Thou shalt not steal, is kidnap, it's messing with other people's families and relationships. Again, if you knew about it, you're likely to do it. This is why the Jewish are claimed, such a massive part in World War II. Not every Jew, is a dirty Shemite. They know about it though, so there's more opportunity for Jewish people to get involved in holy buggery because they know about it, and that's why it's kind of like it was hard for Germany and Russia to deal with Poland, to tell them what the problem is, because then if you tell them what the problem is, they're likely to do it themselves as well. So it's really difficult situation. That's why you don't even say thou shalt not steal. It's thou shalt not bugger with your neighbours' relationships, which is very easy to do. But again, if you knew it, everybody would be doing it, and it would be holy fucking chaos. So it's very hard to teach people, and that's why Poland was in a very tough situation of couldn't tell more ministers and governments, because then they just get involved and it becomes a bigger mess. And that's where gas chambers came in. Yes, Ireland, Sinn Féin, Gardaí Síochána, Rose World, that haven't already died from Passover or coronavirus, as you call it. That's where gas chambers come in, because they won't stop. And they don't believe me. IRA, Sinn Féin up in Strabane in their little fortress, sitting around in silence like snakes lying on the floor. River Cuomo's Weezer, it's loaded content. When you're lying on the floor, when you're lying on the floor, Book of Jeremiah, that's when it's really coming undone. And you're going to be very, very cold without that sweater, and every single notch you take away, lying on the floor, that's when it's come undone. That is loaded content, like Happy Days and Sesame Street. Whatever happened to that guy anyway? Anyway, so yeah, you don't believe me, but yes, gas chambers are in your future for Sinn Féin, IRA. Ask Poland. It's a very unbelievable situation in this modern world that you think these are all going to get death penalties, but these are all going to get death penalties. It's the highest crime in existence, FUCK, fornicating under carnal knowledge, and they know what they're doing. I've told them. They don't stop. I've told them explicitly so many times, and they don't stop. So it's the highest crime in existence, FUCK. That's where the term comes from, that you're absolutely fucked, because you've been fornicating under carnal knowledge, and you've been doing it for 8 or 9 years now, and I warned you about a 14-year period of perdition. And they still don't stop, and you've only got a few years left. If anything, you want to see how bad it's going to be this time, because under the graces of ephemerality, grace, amazing grace, because they're ephemeral, they're uneducated. They didn't know exactly what Jesus said. They don't know what they're doing. Amazing grace. So if they're stupid and ephemeral, they kind of have a grace, because they didn't really know, but they do know this time. They do know this time, because I told them, and they will not be forgiven this time. So it's going to be much, 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 much worse. You do not have the grace of oblivion. You do not have the grace of Christ, that they do not know what they're doing this time, and to forgive them, because I told them so. And they can be utterly held accountable for the K in FUCK. That's why you are so fucked. And I just have to suffer in the meantime, until it gets underway. But so just let you know, you want to refer to pre-war Poland and ask them what they were doing, and you'll find it's exactly what you're doing now in Strabane or Wexford or Kildare or wherever the hell you are. Rose World, French, Swiss, Dutch, Norwegian, Florida really is the seat of the holy fucking Antichrist. The worst place on earth, Florida. It's just monsters. No, I like John Dillow and stuff like this. A lot of skaters are from Florida. I feel bad for them. Blind is Florida, and it's the Reaper. I used to have a blind deck when I was a kid. I was kind of fond of it, but just looking at it now, they make these pop star skateboarders. I saw this other guy, and even had a rap song and all, and he was signed to blind, but it's the Grim Reaper hiding his thing behind his back. It's like Florida will build you up as a pop star and then snuff you when you're ripe for plucking. So a lot of skateboarders, and I'm not getting off topic. A lot of skateboarders generate a lot of respect. A lot of respect. Like if you look at Chad Muska, you know what I mean, in Germany or something like this. A lot of skateboarders, and they're nobodies. They're not backed up by any education, or you need to be backed by a university or something usually to be protected. They're not backed up by anybody. They're the street kids that know a few cool tricks and generate a lot of respect, a lot of respect following. So they're expendable, and Miami love it. That's what I was thinking. Blind, the Grim Reaper hiding this thing behind his back. I hope that kid's still alive. Anyway, he was a pretty cool, popular skater, and he had like a rap song and everything. He was signed to Blind, and they were building him up and building him up, but they'll pop him when he's ripe, if he's not already popped when he's for being ripe. So I'm getting ready for the nativity. So yeah, yeah, can't stop talking. There's no end to me. So yeah, contact Poland, ask them what they're doing, exactly what you're doing now, Ireland, and then ask Poland about the gas chambers and why so many Polish people were sent to gas chambers. And yeah, and you don't believe me, but you are all going to gas chambers in the future, and you know about it as well. So like, you're really going to gas chambers. So stop bothering my unlawful wedded wife. Stop bothering my family. The American flag is based on not bothering my family, Israel. I know America are very committed to the state or the country Israel, but it's actually buggering families of Israelites. The Red Stripes, 14 closest, or 14 to 1400,000 closest friends and family. They all need to be protected and have peace in their lives and harmony, and you will prosper greatly in stars. The world will become beautiful and magical, and you'll prosper greatly. If you don't, like, that's why America are so adamant about protecting them, Israel, because if my family or the family of an Israelite is bothered or buggered or harmed or trespassed in any way, it has massive consequences on everybody on earth. That's why lots of people turned infertile. God will not put children into a world that's in the mouth of a snake or a serpent. He will not give you children. So yeah, America, you want to step in and do something about Florida and the Vandenbergs and the Rockefellers, because they're breaking everybody's balls. And that's what's really cool about this. Like, the Gardaí Síochána are very self-disgraced at the moment and trying to desperately to conceal. They even try to snuff me to conceal the situation, and I don't die so easy. But that's what Gardaí always do. They just conceal. If they ever are disgraced, it's silenced in a republic. You'll never hear of actual Gardaí disgrace. But what I absolutely love, the divine comedy of the situation, is they're breaking the entire world's balls. People in Malaysia don't care about the confidence of the Gardaí Síochána. People all over the world, and I'm just saying, don't care about the Republican scummy police that we have here, and they don't care about their iniquity or disgrace. And the whole world is going to have to know what they did to save their own balls. And that's what's beautiful about it. You can't conceal this. It's like gospel truth. They need to know the truth to save their balls. Otherwise, the Gardaí and the IRA and Sinn Féin are breaking your balls. Don't know why you're letting them do that, guys. World, why are you letting them break your balls? When you step in there and say, stop bullying the kids, family, and friends. American flag. They're fucking waving the American flag around all day. So stop breaking our balls by bullying the kid. Bullying and bugger me in every way. I don't even know why they bully me. It's like absolutely snowball. You've no idea, like, the psychological and physical torments. I'm not even whining and talking about myself. But they just snowballed and start bullying me. I think it was envy or spite or jealousy or something like that, or some sort of contempt. But again, these people are not good at education. They're all very snobby, and it's funny, like, they actually did side with the IRA and Sinn Féin and try to displace and mutiny me, because they're more familiar to grubby little murderous thieves than some sainted celibate vegan hippie. They found familiarity. America were more familiar to the Mahan family, the IRA and Sinn Féin. Grubby little fucking monsters. Grubby little thieving monsters. I'm immortal, like, true respecting neighbours. It's you wouldn't believe how simple it is. And these people sit around in rotten little fucking caravans they're not travellers, they call themselves travellers. Figuring out any way to rip off their neighbours, how to opportune, how to invade their privacy. That's how I got mixed up with them. I was renting a flat and they started letting themselves into my flat and watching and stalking me every time I was walking around town. That's exactly what caused this problem. They stalked the wrong person, man. The only reason you're supposed to treat every single neighbour right, every single neighbour with absolute gentility, is because you could accidentally treat a very special neighbour mistakenly. Me. And they did that. So you're better off just treating every single neighbour right, just in case you accidentally piss me off or accidentally trespass an Israelite. Just treat everybody nice, just in case. And they did the exact opposite. And then they fucking, they bit the ass of a catfish, basically, you know what I mean? And then they're trying to desperately conceal the situation because they'll reveal all their iniquities. you know. Then again, while they're trying to conceal their disgraces, the president, the Pope, the IRA, Sinn Féin, the Roseworld, while they're trying to desperately conceal it from the other ephemeral humans around them, they're breaking your balls. And again, the infertility crisis that happened after around year 14 when the death horse is on the scene. And again, it wasn't so apparent back then. You did have the grace of oblivion. You were oblivious. But again, this is a different situation because I'm very validly and very sufficiently educating you all on the matter. So, donkey balls. Yeah, I don't know. Poland might let you know what it was like. Poland might let you know what hydrogen cyanide tastes like. Um, a cyclone has lots of purposes, great, wonderful, wonderful, beneficial purposes to this world. Um, Hydrogen cyanide, cyclone B, has wonderful, wonderful, wonderful properties and wonderful utilities. Getting rid of fucking infidels. Anyways, don't believe me, but it's in your future, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And it's going to be a good thing. I don't want anybody to say, "Oh my God, they sent so many people to gas chambers." Like, good, good, good riddance, good fucking riddance. Again, the American flag. They're breaking your balls. They're breaking your stars. They're breaking your future. You won't have a future, and they won't stop. And so, do something. Somebody stop them. And they won't listen to me anyway. And I'm a Taoist. I'm not going to resort to violence to frame me for murder and kitty killing and sacrificing animals and all this kind of crap. Again, vegan, wouldn't harm a fly. And I wouldn't harm a fly, but I will happily push the Cyclone B button on every single one of these holy motherfuckers that are buggering everyone, breaking everybody's balls. The whole world will face death, war, famine, and infertility very shortly. You already have 2 years of war and famine. Again, it's only started. We have 7 more predetermined years ahead of war and famine. Until I get Potiphar, until I get relieved, until I get sent far away from all these infidels and protected. I'm not supposed to be, but that's what it's come to now. That's the way it is, has to be. They're sent off to Siberia or something like that. If Putin would get his fucking finger out and respond to my asylum application, that would be wonderful. Or anywhere that's gypsy familiar. Anywhere that's very gypsy familiar, that's away from the Rose World, away from the Vandenbergs, away from fucking royalty. I don't know, Germany sounds appealing, but Germany isn't Germany anymore. And I'm going to get some relief for Germany in the future because they can't be held responsible for this because they were trying to stop this. You can't hold them responsible for the war. It was the gypsies that were fornicating unlawfully. Gypsies started practicing loads of fucking bad Shemite fucking gypsy techniques. I don't want to tell you about them. I don't even know about them myself. They'll tell you about them. That's why they go around claiming to be teachers. They can teach you and initiate how to lie like a serpent on the floor and not chew food and not make a sound. They can teach you, and they're going around teaching everybody how to bugger me. It's a nightmare. They just keep teaching and they keep going around and they keep educating more and more people how to bugger and torment me. Donkey, too many people on the donkey. Donkey's in the ditch. Got to get the donkey out of the ditch. What would Jesus do? He saved John. And in a world full of Christian endowment and Christian potential, I'm yet to see a Christian hero. Don't get your balls broken. I think I've said this before. I am just reiterating myself, but just don't listen to me. Again, they're very poor students. They don't know how to sit down, shut up, and listen. And even if I do educate them, they forget like in 2 hours later, and they'll be right back to sitting around wanking off, chanting my name backwards or whatever they do. I don't want to know. Again, I was offered these things, and just like Jesus said, "Get behind me. I know better." And get behind me. I know better, and they had no idea. They make every single mistake in the book. Every mistake in the book. Well, praying to Satan and stuff like this is like, you have any idea what Satan does? Like, Satan will destroy you. If you're insufficient, it will tear you apart, man. In ways that higher intelligence that you have no idea of even comprehending, and make a satanic self-mockery of you, and you think you're like Tony Montana. You think you're powerful, and that's what Tony Montana did. I've already said this in a video. He got condemned. I could make a big video about this or anything. He got condemned. He murdered somebody, and you see him in a very overcrowded waiting place at the beginning, which is Christianity. It's an analogy for Christianity. Christianity is overflowed. It's too many people, and there's a long process. and he murders somebody and he gets loose from Christianity. He's no longer in the waiting area for the overstocked Christian populace, and he's condemned. And now there's no longer Satan behind Jesus. You've got Satan testing him now all the time. And they don't realize in the IRA and Sinn Féin or even pre-war Poland that they're being tested on their validity because they don't have the protections of Christ, and they think they're all magical now and they see things and they have all these visions and satanic effigies, and they're just being tempted. Typically, there's sexy women and stuff like this. Again, it's like myself, and not to compare myself to Christ. I was already celibate for many years. I was completely non-sexual. I was beyond it. It was lovely, by the way. It's absolutely so great, so lovely and self-secure, not being so idiotically composed to animalistic tribes. But so I was already past that sexy woman test, but they weren't. They think it's great. They just like, yeah, more sexy women, man. They're just sitting around making satanic self-mockeries of themselves. And again, there's no end to that. This is something really interesting about this world, that heaven will somewhat. So a building going on our back, and it sounds like there's an avalanche. Satanic, what am I saying? Self-mockery. There's no end to it. And for some reason, heaven will actually somewhat tolerate people suffering in light of getting satanic revelation out of people. So there's no end to your satanic self-mockery. God will somewhat let you become as terrible as possible, because he kind of wants to know about and learn about terribleness, and understand. I don't even like to put a God in a sentence, articleize God, but yeah, there's no end to it. So there's no end to your self-mockery and your debauchery, Sinn Féin, IRA, or the Gardaí Síochána. There's no end to it. You'll just go on and on and on until your balls drop off, and your balls will drop off. Your balls drop off. Anyway, I've got nothing to do, so yeah, that's better than educating you. A word.